I need to welcome you back, and we'll see with the big story for today. We're talking about the issue of the Chicago State University certificate and how it seems to be causing a whole lot of ripple, especially as it concerns that recent filing of another person, but the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, on account of that very one being given to INEC by no other person but President Bola Ahmed Tinubu before the elections, and how that seems to be causing a whole lot of ripples, especially as it concerns the petition, or rather the tribunal, and also the appeal being made by no other person but the PDP presidential candidate to the Supreme Court. All of that is taking center stage on the big story for today. And like I said, I still have both of my guests right here to help us look at the legal angles. And we're talking of no other person but Barrister Casey Omoirabo and also Barrister Ejire Tagene, both of them helping out with the discussion. But what we'll do now is quickly go on the break and get message from our sponsors. And we're talking about Benita Gas, located right here in Ughelli, Okokoko, and Warrior Environs. And when we come back, all I need to say is more talk right here on the big story.
Oh, yeah, follow the road, auto better quality. If you talk gas matter, oh, yeah, follow Benita. Gas with the better quality. Benita gas where they full rich man to Benita gas. Every brother na shopali. Benita gas no mago mago. Benita gas different type of gas cylinder. I mean that gas we go last you well. Benita gas matter Benita now dogu. Benita gas service in a them they run. Benita make you carry go.
For gas matter and home delivery, make you wire Benita gas plant for 080-6745-7890 and 080-5904-7722. Benita gas plant, the tequile of gas matters.
Well, we need to really welcome you back, but remember that the big story is big enough to accommodate all your businesses. So you'll be doing yourself a great deal if you can come over and let's see how we can talk about business and bring you on board to be a part of the big family, and that's the big story on Quest today. But anyway, it's still the big one that seems to be making a round around the country as it concerns politics, and we're talking about the issue of the certificate of from the Chicago State University of no other but President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Like I said, a quick recap. Before we went on the break, we talked extensively about can that order also be enforced right here. But well, they said it can, but it has to go through a normal process, especially as it concerns the court. And that's how it is. But we will not also need to further our discussion. And the one I really want us to look at, and I'm talking of no other person but Barrister Ejire Tagene. Now, the speculations has always been there, like we said, and you've cleared some issues as it concerns whether it was that of a female or a male. But if we now look at the position of no other person but the registrar of the university, Mr. Westberg, well, I know in his response to whether Tinubu attended the university or not, he made that clear. He said yes, from 1977 to 1979. He said yes, he did attend. And he had a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from that institution on June 22nd, 1979. And all of that seemed to have been cleared. But my next question is, the certificate issued by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to INEC, he said he did so on account of getting it from a vendor. And he said his previous certificate was carted away by no other but persons from Abacha administration, especially when he was on exile, when he was more of an activist pushing for the return of democracy during that very dark age. And I could still remember he even swore to an affidavit on Friday, June the 24th of 2022 to seek for such. Hence, he had to get that from his vendor. But my question is, looking at that, even if he feels he had to get that from the vendor, should it be a very different one, number one? And number two, should it have gone to the university to collect that very one that was normally there? Because it's now having a different story in it, and one that the opposition is putting its finger into it.
Thank you. This issue was clarified by the registrar himself, and I said it earlier. He said he has observed that from 1930 to date, many students don't come for their diploma. In other words, they don't come for their degree certificate because they really don't need it. They really don't need it. And again, that they have third-party vendors. In other words, it's just like when you graduate from the University of Benin, like I did.
Yes.
I didn't attend my convocation ceremony because as a lawyer, I think K. Thomas will understand. We place value on our call to bar ceremony than graduation ceremony, so we don't waste our money. So when our mates were rushing to go and get academic gown, you come to my house, you won't see one single academic gown or graduation gown. We don't wear it. We pride ourselves as lawyers. Our wigger gown is our pride. According to the where Mr. Westberg, he said many don't collect it. And so after your graduation, even without collecting that diploma or your certificate, you can quickly apply to a vendor, a third-party vendor, you know, accredited by the university, and they will give you one. And so Tinubu must have collected his own, the one he claimed is lost during the Nadeko era when Abacha chased them away. Remember, he was a senator.
Of course.
He must have he must have collected it from a third-party vendor, just like many people do in America.
Okay.
Instead of going back to the school, you will just pay a little money and they design another one for you. The logo, everything may not be exactly the same. The font may be different. The most important thing is that he carries the same university, the CSU logo, and he gave your correct name and all the necessary credentials. Insofar it carries it, it is permissible in America. It is here in Nigeria that you lose, you maybe by adventure you lost your certificate, your University of Benin certificate or Delso certificate. You go back to the university. They don't do that in America, because what they place emphasis on is actually your transcript. So when he said his credentials were lost during the Abacha era, we have no reason to doubt him. Even when Rabok comes to court, to this studio now and say, look, as I was coming on the road, I had this encounter. Can we say he is lying? If we say he's lying, then you tell us the truth. So what I think he's doing now is that he said, look, this is the one we collected, the copy of the one issued by the university. This one and this one we submitted to they don't tally. And the question is, he has said that by that reason, Tinubu has lied under oath, which is perjury. And two, that Tinubu has submitted a forged certificate. And that section 1371 of the Constitution holds him on that. That INEC, the court should disqualify him. On that. Then two, that by reason of the fact that he has committed perjury, he's no longer qualified, fit to be a president. So he now came to Nigeria and approached the Supreme Court. And the question is whether the Supreme Court or an appellate court can allow such proceeding, because the function of an appellate court, especially the Supreme Court, is not to hear evidence, fresh evidence. It is to look whether the court below, whether the Court of Appeal, for example, whether the issue they determine, whether they did it well or wrong, and they correct it based on the arguments entertained. But this is novel. This is a case where a case has been heard, evidence has been given, documents have been tendered. You are now coming to say, we want to bring in fresh evidence. Is it permissible in law? The answer is yes. Section 22 and Section 33 of the Supreme Court Act empowers the court to hear such evidence as if it was a court of first instance. In other words, as if it was a court of trial. And initial trial. And even hear evidence, but with conditions. The court now provided its own rules under order 2/12(1). Of the Supreme Court rule of 1985. That says, look, in line with Section 33, you must come with a motion and seek leave of the court. Seeking leave of the court is that, look, we are pleading with the court. Allow me to lead fresh evidence in view of these reasons. The reasons will be deposed to in a supporting affidavit in support. And so that is what I. But it should not be different from what the tribunal did. What do you mean it's not be different? It should, what I mean indirectly mean is the case, even if you are bringing fresh evidence, it should not be totally
disconnected from what happened during the tribunal.
That is where I'm going now.
Okay.
That is where I'm going now. Now, in this affidavit, you will not have to sway the mind of the court, because he who asserts must prove. If you look at our section 131 to 133 of the Evidence Act, whatever who asserts must prove, you must be the one to now sway the mind of the court. And in this regard, the court, because the word used under the act and the rules is the word may.
May, okay.
Which you understand?
It's not certain.
It is not mandatory for the court to agree. In other words, you are requiring the discretionary powers of the court. And the court is empowered to act judicially and judiciously. Okay. And when the court is given a discretionary powers, he looks at the circumstances around it. And he will say, we agree that you can adduce fresh evidence, or we do not agree. But what did the court say further in a decided case? Let me read it. He said the court, an applicant in this nature, such as Atiku Abubakar, because of time, I will just...
Yeah, please, because I need to come to Bersama.
Must satisfy 3 conditions. And one of them, he must prove that, one, the evidence sought to be adduced must be the one that could not have been with reasonable diligence obtained for use at the trial. In other words, at the time the matter was tried by the tribunal, which is a court of appeal, were you diligent
in your submission of...
Were you diligent in trying to get this document or this evidence? Okay. In bringing it, it is for the Supreme Court to determine. But I have my opinion on that. I can't say it because it will be subject.
You sound, yes.
Then 2, the evidence should be such that, if admitted, would have an important, not necessarily crucial effect on the whole case.
Okay.
What effect will this evidence
bring?
What will they have? What effect? You don't just say, oh, the certificate that we saw at CSU is different from the one Tinubu submitted. No. What effect will it be? The university said this man graduated from accounting with honors. What is contained in Tinubu's certificate, the one submitted to INEC? Is it the same thing? Is it the issue of logo?
So they'll look at all the issues.
Then finally, the evidence must be such that it is apparently credible in the sense that it is capable of being believed and it need not be incontrovertible. Okay. When something is incontrovertible, it's something that on the face of it you are expressing doubt that you do not believe it. Okay. Having regard to the testimony or the deposition on oath of Minister Westberg, who is the registrar of CSU, Atiku has an uphill task.
Well, anyway, like we said, we'll let the court decide that, and we do not want to sound prejudiced or subjudice. Now, let me come to you, Barrister Casey Omarabo, and look at it. Like I said, Atiku Abubakar really filed this first evidence to the Supreme Court, and I want your reactions to it, because we are looking at Order 2, Rule 12, Subsection 1 of the Supreme Court 1985 rules. And not only that, but also Section 137, Subsection 1 of the Nigerian Constitution as amended. Because why I also asked, because, you know, the Chris Uche, the lead counsel to Atiku Abubakar, contended that the Supreme Court had the power and the jurisdiction and also has the right to entertain such, looking and again at Rule 2, Section 12, Subsection 7, 2, and 3 of the Supreme Court rule, which makes me really, I'm being forced to ask 2 questions on this. Number 1, let's look at this. Does the Supreme Court have it? No, to take. Do they have a right to say, okay, yeah, these are fresh evidence we are laying? And have we had issues before now where fresh evidence were being admitted by the Supreme Court?
Thank you. I want to say something. The way we are tackling this issue is making it disinterested to the members of the public.
That's the idea.
This is not a court of law.
Of course, we do.
And we are referring to sections and this and that, which ordinary man walk away from his TV. I must tell you the truth.
Okay.
And if it is meant for the public to decide on who should be their president, let us remain civil and be able to tell them. For example, somebody is telling me that when your certificate is lost, Nadeco is lost, then you can go and print another one. It's not done anywhere.
Okay.
Forgery is forgery.
Okay.
I attended the University of Nigeria. And University College not done.
Okay.
If today my certificate is stolen, I go there, they will give me a transcript. I must tell you, when I was...
That is Nigeria.
Hold on. When I have called outside Nigeria, please.
Okay.
So when I was even about to enter the university, I have 9 credits, but I didn't have science subject and mathematics.
Okay.
The best in Nigeria said that's a prerequisite. I wrote another GC for another year.
Okay.
Then I wrote JAMB again. And when that certificate was released, it was difficult to give me the certificate, but I saw as you know, in GC, they publish it.
Okay.
Then I have to write to WAEC. WAEC had to write a transcript, my photograph, to the university.
Okay.
And I don't have such that paper today. So what I think my president would have done, if it is true, was to have written for them to write to INEC showcasing.
Rather than going through a vendor.
Yes! And okay, now, let me say
I think you are not conversant with the facts.
I am.
You are
very well.
Okay, now, no, guys, please, let's stick with it.
I'm not going to agree with you, Uncle and Sinka.
Yeah.
You see, the issue is this. By the way we are arguing, we are not arguing as if we are counsel for this or counsel for that.
No, and I don't want that. I don't.
So why I'm just being bare with the facts.
Okay.
If I am going for election, and the state qualification school said, why go to the length of going to bring a diploma, a degree, and all that is not required? And the way of bringing it, I have lost it, I have to find another one. That brings doubt to the mind of the ordinary man in the streets. That brings circumspection to the ordinary man in the street. So now that this has been done, as for what you asked me, whether the Supreme Court
can take fresh evidence.
Yes, that is a lawyer's issue, and I will tell you. I said it before. Now. So I said, there's Supreme Court rules, but there are provisos. The Supreme Court will say, no. Any appellate court, not just Supreme Court, any appellate court will not ask you to adduce further evidence. Because what you are supposed to look at is whether there was a miscarriage of justice.
In the initial judgment.
Yes. So if the evidence you are due before them is not including this one, why are you complaining about the judgment they gave to you? That is the rule. But the proviso is that they will only look at it like a readout if it will help in dispensing justice. If the ordinary mind will not think that we are not doing justice, we are technicalities. So let us look at what you are saying. Yeah. And whether the other opponent or the other opponent have a right to have a time to reply to.
But have we both of you, have we had cases like this before where fresh evidence were being brought?
You read one out just now.
Okay.
The authorities.
Okay.
When there is need for it, and the need is crucial to deliver justice. Remember, the end is justice.
Yeah.
When justice is not reached, and as one the who will always say, at the end of the day, no matter how beautiful a piece of legislation is, it is what the court will say that actually that is the law.
Okay.
So if the justice of the Supreme Court sits now and say, look, there's a lacuna if we will not have made this fresh evidence. The whole world is aware that Atiku has obtained this. If we black him out now, would that be fair hearing? Okay. So let us.
So we should allow the court to make that decision.
Yes. So when they take that decision, and there's a reply from the other angle, from the counter affidavit, and the Supreme Court judge, they know what to decide. But as for me and you, like how we say, to me, let the world know now. I have never heard of an incumbent president being removed by a legal process. It's not done like a coup. I know the Constitution accepts it, allows it. Can you here, Governor, remove your employer?
Okay, now anyways, as much as we reason on that, I still want us to talk deep into that, because that's the idea of the show today. Like I said, I don't want us to go on a white goose chase. We're looking at two major issues which we've now looked at. We're looking at the issue of the certificate, and now we'll also look at the issue of if fresh evidence can also be tendered to the Supreme Court. But please, I'll plead with both of you to hold on. We need to go on another break now. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion as we look at all of these together on the show today. Let's go on a break.